This is my 1962 Corvair Monza 900 series. I'm offering up for sale for auction at no reserve. It's not a show car. It's a great driver quality car. Although it looks pretty good, the paint job is not a professional paint job. The previous owner had that put on. The main fault with it is there was no body work done prior to the paint job. There's lots of little dimples and areas that could have been corrected very easily with just a spot of body filler, but it was a quick paint job without much prep work done. And there are a few fish eyes in it and other imperfections in the paint. But like I said, it looks pretty good. I get a lot of compliments, a lot of thumbs up as I'm driving it. Mechanically, it's very, very good, very solid. I've done quite a bit of work to it. I bought it a little over a year ago. It was my summer project last year. I bought it from a family who was selling it. The owner had passed away about 4 years ago. The family didn't know a lot about the car, but from what I could determine, it had been parked for a few years in the garage prior to his passing. And I'll get to why I think that after a while. But let's just take a look all around, inside and out for now. The only area I can see that it ever really had any accident damage was right in this driver's side quarter panel up along the top here. Apparently, I don't know if a truck maybe backed into it right here or a pole or tree fell on it, but it's kind of sunk in a little bit. The bodywork wasn't very good. So that's a little bit of evidence. There's no damage whatsoever around the wheel well area, so nothing got hit in here. It was all right up in this area. And that's the only place on the whole car that I can see really any accident damage. Otherwise, lots of little bumps and bruises that, like I say, could have been straightened out very easily before the paint job, but they chose not to do that. This is the type of car that would be perfect for a total restoration. It's a Southwest car, spent most of its life, if not all of its life, in New Mexico. There's no rust out on it anywhere. I'm going to put it up on a rack after a while and show you all the underneath. Or it'd be a great car just to drive and enjoy. And because the body's not perfect, you won't have to worry about getting a little parking lot ding or chip or something. Here's one of the areas right there that I'm talking about. A little damage right there. And there's a few areas where the paint was chipped that I touched up. The car was totally white, all white from the factory. This maroon color is a factory correct color for 62 Corvair, but this particular car didn't roll out of the factory with that color. Here's a couple little dings right here. If you can, don't know if you can see those, just getting the light just right. Maybe you can see a little ripple there. Like I say, this area here, this line along the body here is not perfectly straight. You can kind of see it dips down just a little bit right in that quarter panel area, right in there. There's another little dimple right here in front of the gas cap cover. believe those are the original mirrors on it. Most of the stuff on the car is original, except for the paint color and those bucket seats. Those are General Motors. They had a GM tag hanging off the bottom of them. I don't know what they're out of. I'm guessing some late 80s Oldsmobile, Buick, Chevy, who knows. I believe the door panels are the original panels that came from the factory on this car. A little bit of swelling in this lower part here. They don't look too bad. A little bit of fade out on the top of the dash there. The seats are in nice shape. That's a good working radio. Light works here. And the back seat, I believe there's upholstery on these front seats. Well, I don't know for sure, but I believe it's probably the original upholstery that came on those seats. I could be wrong. Either way, the back seat's been reupholstered to match the front. Looks pretty nice. It's got carpets in here. Again, I believe these are the original little side panels here, quarter side panels. Those are in pretty decent shape. The headliner is very nice, except for one area right there. Got a little tear above that coat hanger rack, hook, whatever you want to call it. The doors open and shut very nice. I don't think I got in these jam areas here. Let me take a quick look at that. On the passenger side, it's a 4-speed car. The underside of the hood or trunk, what do you want to call this thing in the front, is got the original white paint on it. They didn't repaint under there where they did this paint job. There's the original jacking instructions still hanging on by a thread. And looking closely at those hinge bolts, it doesn't look to me like they've ever been off of there. So I think this hood has maybe never been removed from this car. It's got windshield washers, but they don't work. I think you can buy rebuild kits for these units here, but that one doesn't work right now. And pretty clean, pretty nice in here. I've not done anything to this inside here, except for that master cylinder. It's got a vintage Sears scissor jack. I don't know what happened to the original, but that's kind of cool. And the spare tire's up here now instead of in the engine compartment. But again, like I say, there's no evidence of any, damage, accident damage anywhere up in these floor area or anything. I can flip this up here real quick. Oh, I got a rubber mat down there, but it's clean under there. Trunk opens and closes very nice. Let's take a look at the engine now. You'll notice inside of the engine cover and the entire engine bay is all the same as the outside body color. It got repainted, and apparently the engine was out at that time, and I think I know why. I'll give you some more information about that after a while. Looks pretty nice, pretty clean in here. Engine runs excellent. The car, I believe, has 109,000 miles on it, but this engine obviously was rebuilt sometime recently because it runs great, doesn't smoke. Things I've done to the engine include rebuilding both of the carburetors, new air filters, new battery, new fan belt, new spark plugs. Of course, the oil in the oil filter was changed, has a new fuel filter, new distributor cap, rotor, points, and condenser. Okay, let me start it up for you. All right, now I'm going to put it up on the rack and we'll look at the underneath, and I'll go over all those details that I've been promising you. And now for a look underneath. Let's just start right back here. You can see there's a little dent right there. And they didn't spend a lot of time prepping this area. They basically just cleaned it and painted it. You can see previous, scratches and chips and stuff. The exhaust appears to be fairly new. I didn't do that work. That was already done when I got the car. But both mufflers and the pipes and everything look to be pretty nice. There's no rust out anywhere on this car. This reddish color here is the factory primer that was on it. You can see there are some areas where it's been, run over something, got a little dent or scrape in it. But all in all, it's pretty clean. This is just, nothing's ever been undercoated or repainted under here. This is just how it's been from the factory after however many years it is. Let's see, about 50, 60 years, I guess. Same thing kind of with this front apron. There's a little dent right there. And you can see, you know, they didn't really sand this down very good. That's why it's great for a driver car. You don't have to worry too much about it. All right, now let me go over everything I know about it. The wheel cylinders were all basically gummed up and inoperable. So I did a complete brake system rebuild. Wheel cylinders, master cylinder, new rubber lines here. Shoes on the front, the rear shoes were pretty darn good, so I didn't replace those. Blew out all the brake lines, so the brakes work perfectly now. The fuel tank, it had a small leak in it where it had rusted through. So I replaced the fuel tank along with a new sending unit and a new rubber, I can't see it up there, but a new rubber coupler between the filler neck and the tank. Up under here has a new shift tube bushing. It shifts very solid and smooth, no sloppiness in there at all. It has a new emergency brake cable through here. And here's where I'm gonna tell you about what I'm guessing happened to the car. This differential looked just like this when I got the car. It'd been freshly painted, that kind of a dark silver color, dark gray. And so what I think happened is he had a problem with this differential. From the factory, I believe, according to this number right here, this HG, and I'm gonna give you a better look at all the numbers later on. I believe it has a positive traction rear end from the factory. And apparently something went haywire with that, don't know, but I'm guessing. And so now it just has a standard differential. It's not a positive traction in there anymore. So I think maybe the car, originally, when he had that problem, engine got taken out, this got rebuilt. I did pull the inspection cover off and looked. Everything looked very nice in there. I believe it has new bearings. I know it has new seals because I went ahead and put new seals on the outer edges here. And while he had this out, I think he decided to replace the clutch. And I also believe that while this engine and all this stuff was out, that's when he decided to paint the car. And that's why there's no overspray on the engine, but all the interior parts of the engine bay area are painted. The problem happened though, is that whoever installed that clutch didn't get it installed correctly. And when I got the car running, it chattered like crazy. And I believe that's why it got parked a number of years before the gentleman passed away. So I had to pull that engine out of there and replace the clutch and the flywheel. While I had it out, I thought, well, you know, I think I'm gonna go through this transmission just to be safe. So I took the transmission completely apart, inspected everything. It all actually looked very good. Practically no wear on the shafts, the gears, anything. So basically all I did was put it back together with new gaskets and seals. And I gave it a silver paint job there. It was dripping a little bit of oil. I put a new pan gasket on it, new valve cover gaskets, and I went ahead and put a new rear main oil seal up there behind the crankshaft pulley. And that solved 95 to 99% of the drips. I still do occasionally get a little bit of oil seeping right out of the back here somewhere. Sometimes it'll leave a drip on the garage floor. Sometimes it doesn't. It's not leaking from around the pushrod tubes. I can see up in there, it's all dry. So wherever it's leaking is coming right out of the back, maybe between that gasket on the back of the engine there or around the oil pump or something. It's not severe, but I'm just pointing that out. And while I was doing some of this work, like replacing this fuel tank, and then that when I had the engine out and stuff, I took some pictures of underneath this areas. So I'm gonna cut to that now and you'll see that. And these were taken, a year ago when I was working on it. This is the new tank I'm gonna put in. But before I install it, I wanna take some video of the area up here where it's going in. You can see those frame rails are nice and straight. There's no rust anywhere, at least no rust out. Might be a tiny bit of surface rust some places. That red you see up there is the original primer that was on the car. I don't see any damage, anything bent, twisted, or I don't believe it's been in any kind of accident up front here or anything. Before I put this engine back in here, thought I'd just take a look up here. You can see that this isn't all rusted out or anything. Up under the rear wheel wells here, you can see it's not all rusted out. Even up in these areas here, looks pretty clean. Go over to the other side now. Take a look up there. Cross member looks to be pretty good shape. Okay, this is the driver's side wheel well area. Even the battery box is pretty good. I don't see any previous body damage in these areas at all. And I wanted to show you what it looks like. Take some video of in here. You can see it's pretty darn clean. Here's the valve covers right down there. I've not cleaned them or nothing. That's just how they came off. This one here, you can see a little bit of rust speckles on there, but it's not all sludged up or anything like that. Let me go around to the other side now. Pretty clean in there. And I've got my new valve cover gaskets installed on both sides. When I get it bolted back up in the car, I'll drop the oil pan, and I've got a new gasket to put on there too. It was dripping a few drops of oil when I parked, so hopefully that'll solve that problem. But before I put the thing back together, I wanted to record the numbers because I believe this is all a numbers matching vehicle. Let me start first right here with the engine. Get my light. Okay, right down there says T, which means it was manufactured in the Tonawanda plant. 12/19, that's December 19th of 61. YC, which is correct for a 1962 model. I believe YC was used 62 through 64. The generator right here, that's a correct number for 1962 Corvair, 1102226. The distributor, a 10869, and then it says 1127. So let's say 108. Maybe it's 10269. I believe it's 10269. The starter, I already took a picture of the starter number before I put the starter on. Okay, let's go to the transmission now. The casting number is 3789364, which is correct for a 62. The date there, L161. I believe L is December. Let's see. Yes, L would be December, so the transmission was cast in December 16th, on December 16th of 61. And then up here is the stamping number, which is a SF, which means a 4-speed, 1227. 1227 would be December 27th. So it was cast December the 16th. It was assembled and put into service or ready for service on December 27th. Okay, the third member, or the differential, if you look there, numbers are upside down. Let me turn this upside down. Okay, it says 3826196 is the casting number, which is correct for a 1962 model. If you look at the date there, it says E462. E would be May, so May 4th of 62 was when it was cast. And then down here on the side of it, we got some stampings. HG, which means positive traction, 57. So it was cast in May 4th of 62, and it was assembled, ready for service on May 7th of 62. Like I said, it's no longer a positive traction gears in there, it's just a conventional differential now. So all the parts are correct for 62. You got new tires put on it. You got new shock absorbers all the way around, all four corners. Got new springs on the back here. It was kind of sagging just a little bit, so I thought, well, while I've got, you know, the engine out and what have you, I'll put new springs on there. The differential is a 327 gear ratio. The car actually gets pretty good gas mileage. I haven't actually checked it, but just from driving around, I can get a lot of miles on it before I got to stop for gas. You got new U-joints on both sides. And here's a look underneath the doors. Let me go over and get that. This is the driver's door here. And the backup lights were working at one time, but for some reason they're not working now. I'm not sure what the problem is with that. The car shifts great. No sloppiness in the shifter. radio. It's a stock radio. I guess it's a tube type radio from 1962. It takes a second to warm up, but it works real good.
And something I found very interesting here was that the most efficient methods of demoralization, he said, were semantic manipulation of population, or word pollution. That's my new favorite phrase, word pollution. That said, I always like word salad.
Whales gave birth over the winter in the greatest number since 2015, an encouraging sign, say researchers.
I've ranted on this. We've talked about this.
We have.
Almost every...
Justin Thorpe taken away by Butler. And now the ball loose again. Scramble for it. High up on the floor. Possession arrow favors the Baylor Bears. Houston having the most difficult time hanging on to the basketball.
I forgot the basketball game's on today. But all the push buttons work, volume control works, tuning knob works. Gas gauge works, speedometer works good. I'm going to take it up on a major road here and we'll get it up to speed a little bit. The lighter doesn't work, cigarette lighter doesn't work. Windshield wipers work. See if I can turn them on for you. Windshield washers do not work. Oil pressure light works there. The heater also works. I have used that actually this winter, and I was surprised it actually worked pretty good. Fan's not real strong, but it does blow some hot air out. Got a few little lights here in a row. Maybe after that I can get it up to 50 miles an hour. That's what the speed limit is on this road. Steers very nice. No sloppiness in the steering. Okay, now we're going about 50. think I mentioned before, but it also has new seat belts in it. It had some brown ones in it. I thought black would look better, so I bought new ones for it. Bucket seats, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what they're out of, some 80s I think GM car. They're quite comfortable. And if you have any questions about anything at all, don't hesitate to ask. I'll tell you as much as I know about it. I've enjoyed driving it. Like I said earlier, it was my summer project last year, but I'm ready to pass it on to somebody else and find me something else to work on this summer. Good luck bidding.